Welcome everyone to Season 9 of Gooey's Dungeon Dive, the podcast where I, Gooey, rank all of the dungeons in the Legend of Zelda series, and this is episode 0 of The Wind Waker. For this season, we're going to do stuff a little bit differently, which is why I wanted to make this video, to let everyone know what's going on. But first, I want to introduce my special co-host for the season, Corey Richmond.
That's me.
Hey.
I didn't realize until you just said it. This is season 9?
Yes.
That's
it's
wild.
Technically the 10th Zelda game because I think we're skipping Four Swords. I think that technically came out before.
Wow, that's exciting. We're on our way.
Yeah, we're coming up. July is the 2-year anniversary. So Wind Waker, it's the 9th game in the single-player Zelda games, and while it builds on many elements that the series had kind of laid out before it, in a lot of ways, I think the Wind Waker was also a pretty big departure for the series. We watch some of the games that get a little bit more larger with the story, and it becomes more of a focus of the game. And I think Wind Waker really expands that aspect, as well as other things, even further. So with this series, while focusing on the dungeons, I also want to highlight what I think is really cool about the game. And so with that in mind, we're going to be having extra videos in between the dungeons of the game, where we dive more into the story. And I hope that will be great for people to play along, or even just, enjoy and get the experience of the game, because we're going to talk about all the story moments and the stuff like that. Of course, to make it even more special, I have Corey here, as I know this is a pretty important game for you as well, right?
Absolutely. This is my favorite game of all time, pretty much. Definitely my favorite Zelda game. I'm sure we're going to touch on it in all these episodes, just the specific little things that I find special and really impressive about this game.
What's your history? Did you play it like right when it came out, or were you a Zelda fan when this came out? Or
I was 7, and the thing that you play or watch when you're 7 inevitably becomes your favorite version of that thing. So
yeah, pretty much.
It wasn't my first Zelda game, but it was definitely one of my first that I kind of picked up on my own, played through the entire thing, and formed my own opinions of it, by myself. This definitely informed a lot of my earlier era of gaming, and I just have very fond memories of it. And since then, I've played it regularly, and it constantly brings me back to that special little nostalgic place in my mind,
I can totally relate to that, because my first Zelda games were ones that came out before my time, and then it was like the late 90s, like the N64 and Link's Awakening, that were the ones that I really first connected with, and now I think of those as like, some of my favorite games. I mean, I feel like in Zelda Dungeon videos I've come off as like not liking the game or something, but I actually have nostalgic memories of this game. This is probably the first game that came out when I was like a really conscious like fan of the series, I don't remember like the Space World demo that people reference about like in the production of the game, but I do just remember like playing games like, I think Melee was out before this, and I think Soul Calibur came out the same year probably. I remember, seeing Link in those games and wondering what's the next Zelda game gonna be like. And of course this game, in a lot of ways, not just with the story we mentioned, but it's a huge turning point for the series, and you immediately get a sense of it, since it's episode 0, actually. You get a sense of what this game is like by looking at that title screen and feeling the music. And we'll have that playing right now. Oh yeah, feels good. So yeah, I have very fond memories of playing this game with my brother. I think we both had GameCubes, and I think he had this game before me. I think that's his favorite Zelda game too, so it's kind of special in that way for, I guess, us. So yeah, we're gonna break down the story. We're still gonna hit on the dungeons like normal, and we'll have Corey here. I don't know, is gonna be a different experiment, so I don't know how this series will release, if it'll be like weekly, bi-weekly, or occasionally, because it's, now we've got a lot on our plate, so we'll see what happens.
I'm just very excited to talk about The Wind Waker. Early game for me. Definitely formed a lot of my, initial concepts of what The Legend of Zelda is, and then of course, I'm sure we'll touch on the legacy of it, but spawned a completely new look and the tune style that kind of steamrolled its way through that entire decade.
All right, Corey, I'm pretty stoked. We will see everybody in episode 1.